Hi, everyone. Welcome to an episode of Tabletop Sportcast Presents with your host, James Cast. Today I'm going to be working on building a wrestling federation using ChatGPT. If you are unfamiliar, ChatGPT is one of the leading AI interfaces. It's a text and language interface that allows you to communicate with artificial intelligence and allows you to do a lot of different things, but I'm going to use it today for like a brainstorming exercise to see how it would work helping me create from scratch a wrestling federation that I could use in any one of my tabletop games. Wrestling is one of the few places that I really embrace fictional sports. I really do enjoy doing historical wrestling events, but when it comes to running a federation, I really feel like it's hard to like recreate all those storylines using a lot of the games that are out there. So I almost like the idea of having a clean slate and saying, okay, I'm going to start from scratch with fictional wrestlers and fictional storylines and just see where it can lead. So that's what we're going to do today is see how this works leading it through. I set up a couple of small goals that I wanted to go after. One, I want to start smallish. I want to have like about 20 wrestlers. I did this recently with the Wrestling America Federation and Face to the Mat, and I think it works really well for like a starter federation. Two, I want to go with 12 shows. 12 works for a couple reasons. One, if you wanted to do like a monthly pay-per-view, and then you have one show each month. But in this case, I'm actually going to do like a 3-month schedule, and it's going to be focused on the summer months with a weekly show, a couple of pay-per-view events, and then a big supercard show at the end. Like that's what I have kind of envisioned for this 12-show approach. I want to identify some arenas that I can use to host those shows. So I'm hoping ChatGPT will be able to help me identify like where I could have those wrestling shows. I'd like to come up with at least one signature event for each show, like the main event. Like what would be the key match in each main event at each of the shows. And I want to get a name for the federation. And then we're going to see what other things develop too, but we're going to start with those basic ideas first. All right, so if you haven't had a chance, you can kind of type ChatGPT into your browser. It'll take you to the site. It's a free source. It's a free resource, and all you need to do is give it an email address. I'm using my Gmail account. I provided it like just sign in using Google. It got me in immediately, and then you can click on this little button here, and it'll let you jump into actually communicating with ChatGPT. So you can see I did a little practice on this. So I have some idea about how this is going to go here. All my chats would be over here. But we're going to start with a brand new chat, and we're going to kind of start this from scratch and say, I would like to create a fictional wrestling federation. And immediately, ChatGPT will start to lead me down the path. All right, so we're getting some ideas. It's also ChatGPT has its own set of goals, which is really interesting. And some of these are things that we may embrace. And so you can see that there's also a little bit of a carryover or alignment with what I was proposing as far as my goals go. I see a name on there. The idea of creating wrestlers is a good idea. Like I only said I wanted 20 wrestlers, but it's actually saying, why don't you actually create like unique personalities, backgrounds, styles, all that kind of stuff, which is a great idea. Getting some storylines. I think that's something we may want to play around with as well. A championship belt is helpful. I mean, this is going to be a fictional one. I'm going to use my tabletop, so I don't really need a championship belt, but maybe like figuring out like which championship should I have. That might be a good idea. I could certainly go with a logo. Creating a schedule is aligned with what we had. And then we've got scripts and building a following. So I think the following is something that might take place at a later date. So let's go back to our goals and say, let's start with the 20 wrestlers here. I would like to have 20 wrestlers for this new federation. Any ideas on what I should include? Okay, so now we're starting to get some interesting ideas about wrestling archetypes. Oh, and I see number 6 is a femme fatale, so it's also introduced an idea of having female wrestlers, which is a really good idea. Like, I hadn't really gotten specific around that just yet, but I think I'm going to go back and ask it again to think about this a little bit more. I'm curious how many it's going to give me here. And I'm hoping that it's going to give me 20, because I did say I wanted 20 wrestlers. And there it is. So let's take this a little step further and get a little more specific, because I only really see on here one specific female wrestler. A lot of these are generic, though. A lot of these could be anything we want. Okay, so let's get more specific. I want 14 male wrestlers and 6 female wrestlers. So now we had 20 before. I'm hoping that this list will be 14 males and 6 females as we go through this. And I do see a little bit of carryover, like the technician seems to be something that it's bringing back here again. I think the high flyer was in both of these. Yep, I see a high flyer up there. So we definitely have a couple of things here that it's working kind of off that same list again. And I see a technician here a couple of times too. And it wouldn't really be bad to have 2 technicians in this. Here we go. Now I'm getting some more specific ones around the female wrestlers, and no surprise. Like we said, a lot of those were very generic, and now it's giving me a chance to see a little bit of different flavor for the females and the males there. All right, we're going to come back to the wrestlers. I think now we have like a basic general idea of some archetypes that we can utilize within our federation. Let's look at the second goal of 12 shows here. I want a schedule that has 12 shows running over the course of 3 months. 12 weekly shows running over the course of 3 months. Any thoughts on show types? So this is what I want to see, like, what is it thinking in terms of what we should do here? Okay. Oh, interesting. So they're actually going to give me now a show description for each day of the week. Oh, and it's going after some of the special events that we also were thinking about getting. Interesting. All right, so let's lead it down a little bit different path, because I think it's got some interesting ideas here. I like the idea of going with Monday Night Mayhem. I think we're going to build off of that. Maybe make that like our weekly show. So let's expand here and say, this sounds good. Let's use Monday Night Mayhem as our weekly show. Can you suggest three pay-per-view events to hold if this is a summer time schedule? All right, now this is where it's playing off a little bit of like some of the ones that are used at the highest levels here. SummerSlam is obviously a brand name, so we'd probably want to stay away from that. Independence Day Slam, though, that sounds like an interesting idea of like playing off that idea of it's not quite SummerSlam. SummerSlam is a branded show for a different federation. Can you suggest another idea? Let's see what it says. Heat Wave. Okay. Oh, and it's even got some interesting ideas of things we could do here, too, which they did also with the Beach Bash, so that's kind of cool. Sunburn, Summer Showdown. Okay. All right, so I think we got some good ideas now. We've got a couple of ideas there. We need to find some arenas to host these shows. So let's see if it can suggest that. Now, we're a fairly new federation, but let's see what we got. I need some arenas to host these shows. Can you suggest 12 arenas? All right, now it's going very generic here. And I think for this, even though I kind of told it before, I didn't want to go branded necessarily. I didn't want to go in the branded direction necessarily before, but I feel like I can get a little bit more specific here. And I want some, like, even though this is a fictional environment, I want to have some real life places that we could do this. So how about some real arenas that could host shows? Maybe on the East Coast, because I'm from the East Coast, so let's see what it says here. Okay, there we go. Madison Square Garden, the Barclays Center. Now, this is a brand new federation, right? And these are going to be major arenas. I feel like we may want to go just a little smaller, maybe a lot smaller even, because a new Fed is going to have some pretty basic places that they're going to attend. And while these are really good ideas, and these are the kind of things, and I love that it's actually aligning it with some of the wrestling events that have been hosted at these events, that's some really good places to start from. All right, so let's do this then. This is a new federation with smaller crowds. can you suggest smaller arenas that could be good? Okay, now we're talking here. Oh, yeah, see? Capacity of around 3,500. I like that. Oh, yeah, the old ECW arena. That's cool. Okay, so now I feel like we got some smaller things that could do here. And I'm going to try to get real specific here because I do like the idea of having one of these be like our major show. And maybe like... I don't think Sunburn. Maybe Heat Wave or the Summer Showdown. I think I'm going to go with Heat Wave. I want our final show to be Heat Wave, a supercard event at a medium-sized, because I still don't want to go with the big ones. Any suggestions? Now, you notice I didn't specify East Coast, but it knows before that I was talking about staying on the East Coast. And so it's going to give me some arenas that are a little bit better size. Well, Ohio's a little off the East Coast here. Nice. Okay. So we got some decent places now, and I think we can call that a check. Let's see if we can start to generate some signature events here too. I want each show to have a signature event for the main event. That means it'll probably be 9 signature events for Monday Night Mayhem, and 1 each for Heatwave. And let's see what else we had. Independence Day Slam. And Summer Showdown, we'll just call it. Let's see what it comes back with now. All right, so for Monday Night Mayhem, we could do a Battle Royal, Last Man Standing, a ladder match. These are all good ideas. All right, not bad. I think that's at least a starting place for us to go with. And did they give us 9 up here? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, it did. So it gave me the 9 that I needed for. Perfect. So we've got those events. We need a name. Let's try to generate a name for this federation. I need a good name for this federation. All right, the Rising Stars Wrestling Federation. Not bad. Any other suggestions? Maybe 5 alternatives. And let's take that one more step. Like, I like the idea of new era wrestling federation, but also want to show that it takes place on the East Coast. Can you refine that name? All right. Cool. Yes. I like that idea of bringing things together too. All right. We've met all of our goals. ChatGPT also had some goals that I think are worth going back and talking about. So let's go back to the beginning here and see what ChatGPT had mentioned. We got the name. We need to create some wrestlers. So create wrestlers. Develop storylines. I'm not going to do a championship belt or logo. We did the schedule. Yeah, I don't think we need to worry about the rest of these, but I do want to focus in on these two ideas here. Let's try to develop a couple of these wrestlers. I want to go down to this list here. I would love to see us develop like a high flyer. I think it could be really fun too. And you know, we did talk a little bit about championships too. Let's start there. Let's talk championships. How many are appropriate for this sized federation? It's a great suggestion. We've got one for the men, one for the women, and a tag team division. Can you think of some names for these championships? Probably had that coming. Here's some other options. The Rising Star, the New Wave, the United Wrestling Tag Team. Nice. Okay, so we got some ideas here. Let's focus in. You know, we didn't think about tag teams at all, so let's work with the tag teams. Of tag teams. How about some good name suggestions for tag teams? Oh, nice. The New Wave in the New Era Wrestling. I like that. The Renegades. The Wrecking Crew. The Dynamic Duo. The Brotherhood. The Twin Terrors. All right, so it gave me a list of 10. I think if I didn't suggest, and I've noticed this a little bit with ChatGPT, if you don't give it more specific information about how many you want, it's going to kind of default towards 10. I wanted to develop the idea of like the high flyer a little bit, so let's maybe even talk about this tag team. I like the idea of a tag team of high flyers, but want a more original name for this team. Suggestions? Sky Masters, the Airborne Alliance, Gravity Defiers, Flight Crew, Winged Warriors. Ooh, I like the Air Assassins. Let's go with the Air Assassins. Can you suggest 2 wrestlers that would make up this tag team? And we'll start to develop some wrestlers here. Maverick Skylar, Raven Black. All right, so it went with a male and a female. Let's make this an all-male tag team. Can you give me 2 names that work for that? I think I went back to that. So this is where you want to just correct it. Sorry, I meant 2 male individuals that make up the Air Assassins tag team. Ace Andrews, Phoenix Fury. That works. I like it. I think we need to develop this one a little bit more, though. Let's focus on Phoenix Fury. What's his background? Actually, before we get to his background, what's his finishing move and his other signature move as a high flyer? I'm hoping I'll get a really good high flying kind of move here. The Phoenix Splash. Oh, nice. A somersault. That's a good one. And then the Wings of Fury. See, that's a really good one too. I like both of those a lot. So they both utilize his name, Phoenix Fury, Phoenix Splash, and the Wings of Fury. That is perfect. We're going to go with both of those. Okay, let's, can you develop a background for Phoenix Fury that also shows where his 2 moves come from? The Phoenix Splash and the Wings of Fury. Let's get an idea here about what this is now. All right, we got a real name for him. He's really Adam Collins. That is awesome. All right, this is great. So now we've developed a nice backstory for Phoenix Fury. Um, the air assassins need an opponent. Actually, let's make the air assassins a face tag team. They need a rival tag team that is heel in nature. Suggestions? Iron Titans. Shadow Ninjas. Nice. All right. Loving this so far. I think we're going to go with the Iron Titans as the rivals to the Air Assassins. Very completely different styles is what it feels like here. So we're really set up for some interesting things here. What we need now is kind of a storyline between these two. So we're going to further develop this. How about a 12-week storyline featuring the Air Assassins and the Iron Titans that culminates in the, let's see what it suggested up here. So now I'm going back and I want to get an idea about like what were they suggesting as like the Summer Showdown, the King of the Mountain. And they also had some other ideas up here. Maybe I went too far. All right, so let's just say culminates in the Heatwave final show main event. What would also be a good signature event for a tag team final? See what it comes back with here. All right. So really simply, it's just giving us a couple of things that we can build upon here. I'm seeing things like grudge matches and a title match early on. Yeah, I figured it would go in that direction, but a tornado tag team match, everybody in the ring. Could be a ladder match, which is the other way I thought maybe they would go. Tag team titles hanging over the ring, of course. So yeah, this is some really good ideas here for building a storyline for these two tag teams. And I could continue on with this. Like I could really, start to develop this even further. And I'll even ask it like, how many matches should I have in each show for Monday Night Mayhem. Let's see what it recommends here. Awesome. And it starts to just, more and more, you can just keep developing more and more ideas here. And I would probably continue down this path and um, develop a few more tag teams. It's only 20 wrestlers, so I can't go too crazy, but I would probably start with like the Iron Titans and um, recommend, like, okay, let's build these two wrestlers. Like, who's, the Air Assassins, like, we've got one of the guys, right? But like Ace Andrews, like, let's develop his character. And then let's develop the Iron Titans. And then let's start thinking about some of the other wrestlers that would be in here and get all their backstories and really get a feel for like some storylines that could develop. And all of a sudden you'd have like a really robust kind of 12-week schedule. And you wouldn't want everything planned out, but you could have a good amount of it planned out to give you a really good backbone for this season schedule. And I think it would just be a lot of fun to just play around with this. And this is one of the ways you can use like ChatGPT in developing some of your tabletop fictional events. Went with wrestling here. I could see using this for other sports as well. And I could probably even start to get more specific. If I was using something specific like face to the mat and I wanted to get qualities, like I could probably suggest some qualities and say, like, which ones would you recommend that I give to these different people? But with this amount of information, I could probably even start to assign some qualities and decide, like, what do I want to do with these wrestlers? So really cool stuff here. Hope you enjoyed this. This is like one of the shows I wanted to do. I'm going to try and do a few more using this ChatGPT just to showcase how it could be utilized in our hobby to really enhance some of your tabletop play. Thanks a lot.